12th of January, Rabbi Levitt, Pele Yoetz.
Brings the thing that the person is afraid of upon him, chas v'shalom, even if it wasn't really upon him. He just thought it was, and he was afraid about it. Okay. So let's see. Where are we? Once again, I did not mark off.
187. No, we've done that, 187.
187. Oh, yeah, we were doing Birkas Hamazon. Okay. Right. So that's what we said from Birkas Hamazon. Okay. Right. Very good.
So that was the bottom of 186.
That was the bottom of 186. Oh, yeah, just one quick note on Birkas Hamazon. Now, there's really a third level in Birkas Hamazon. There's the right. We were talking about the first three brachos that are deraisa, and the fourth bracha Tova Meitiv, Rabban Gamliel in his Beis Din instituted that bracha. So those are absolute obligations, deraisa and derabbanan. What about the harachamon that are said after the Tova HaMeitiv? Harachamon, harachamon this, harachamon that. What's the status of those of that part of the Birkas Hamazon? So this is not deraisa. It's not even derabbanan either, as is clear from the Gemara in brachos that we learned yesterday. So these harachamons were instituted even after the time of Chazal. So they basically are a minhag. They basically have the level of minhag. But unless one does not have the minhag, and there are some that don't have the minhag to say it, but those that don't have any such minhag, and even if they don't have a minhag, there's a tremendous value in saying these harachamons. What's the value of them? There's a spiritual formula that's at work over here. After a person has said the Birkas Hamazon, he's fulfilled the mitzvah deraisa, one of the big ones. Hakor Satov to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tremendous, tremendous mitzvah. So that mitzvah that he has done creates an eis ratzon. And the truth is, all mitzvahs, generally speaking, create an eis ratzon for a person. What's an eis ratzon? An eis ratzon is an auspicious time. And what is that auspicious time? What is that time of favor very conducive to? Siyata Deshmaya and Tefillah and bracha. And that's what the harachamons are. So after we say the Birkas Hamazon, we're asking Hashem to like we are in Tefillah, to in the schus of the eis ratzon that we have now created through doing the mitzvah of Birkas Hamazon, we're asking him to protect us, to be mefarnes us, and to bring Mashiach, which is all of what the parshas of the Chumash that we're learning at this time are about to believe in the Geula and to yearn for the Geula. Harakamon hu yakdir lanu es beis hamikdash limkoima. And that's actually, and that's not that we say in Birkas Hamazon. You know what I mean. Everybody will have the Birkas Hamazon in front of them, you see. So really it behooves us greatly. It's a great time. It's a tremendous time to ask. And even a person, if he wants to, he could add on a personal harakamon on his own to ask Hashem, just like any Eis Ratzon is a time to ask Hashem for anything that a person desires and what he feels that he's missing and what he needs. And so it's a tremendous opportunity and not one to treat lightly.
Where would you add that on?
You could add it on after the last Harakamon.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could add it on after the last Harakamon. Then you have 3 psukim that are you could add it on after there also, I guess. Hashem oz lamo yitein, Hashem yivorech, Samoy bashalom. You answer that. You could say after that.
That's the end of the Birkat Hamazon, the very end.
And if you take a look in different different communities, the Art Scroll has they print different harakamons that different communities have been accustomed to say. That are not said in Ashkenaz. You could say them as well, or you could. But they are. Yeah, there is a certain chachma into where they're inserted, but we're not the great chachamim, so it's for us it's we could say it after the proper seder that has already been arranged for us. In other words, there's a certain seder of the harakamon that has been arranged for us by there's a certain seder to how they are said, and so we don't want to interrupt that. So we would say it after all the harakamons have been concluded.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so a round of applause. We start off the day with a round of applause for page 186.
Hey!
And we have finished. Baruch Hashem. Okay. And now we go on to page 187. Things which are permissible. Let's see, who would like to start off the reading?
I'll start.
Okay.
Things which are permissible, but people have accustomed to prohibit them, in accordance with a stricter opinion, may not be permitted in their presence, as long as refraining from doing so does not cause a disaster or stumbling block. Whatever that means.
Wow.
Yeah, we're not familiar with being so. We just do what it is that we know that we do, and if we're in a place where people have different customs, we just let's see here. Let's see, what does it say in the Hebrew? Devarim hamutarim, things which are according to the halacha, there's no prohibition. They are permitted. But no gubehem isur. Kadas eze machmir. But there are those who conduct themselves stringently in the matter, according to the view of someone of those opinions which are stringent. Iyata rishai lahatiron. You may not permit them in their presence. Called the lo nafik churba v'takola, as long as it doesn't cause any fallout. And he gives no examples. Yeah. So okay.
I wonder if
Chalav
Yisrael would be an
yeah.
example.
What's that?
I said, I wonder if Chalav Yisrael would be an example.
Devarim hamutarim. It's something which is mutter, me'ikar adin, all of Israel. Yeah, perhaps I'm not. Okay. In other words, something which is not any prohibition. There has not been any rabbinic sanction on it. Right. I mean, as far as we know, as far as we know, we rely on the fact that the milk that's produced in America comes from cows, and it doesn't come from non-kosher animals.
Right.
That's the way they advertise it, and that's the way that I think there's the USDA supervises. They're supposed to supervise the production of the milk. So they're your mashgiach. The USDA is your kashrus mashgiach, and there is a but Chalav Yisrael is basically that you have a Yoreh Shemayim supervise to make sure that you're drinking milk which is kosher. Maybe that's an example. So it's a chumrah. It's a chumrah. Many have the custom to do so. Here in Eretz Yisrael, I don't know if there's any milk that's produced by a Jewish company which doesn't have rabbinic supervision, which essentially means that it is Chalav Yisrael. That's what the kashrus agency is attesting to when they one of the things that they are, at least one of the things, and also that the milk was not produced on Shabbos in violation of the halachas of Shabbos. There was no Hillel Shabbos involved in producing the milk. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's a good example.
So according to this, then, if you had guests, if you lived in America in a remote community, and you did not hold by Chalav Yisrael in your home, but you had guests and you knew that they did hold by it, then based on this, you'd be obligated to serve them Chalav Yisrael. Is that correct?
In other words, if they don't say anything.
Well,
You know that
let's just say, yeah, they don't say anything. You know that they keep it.
Well, when you prepare for the meal, you probably prepare Chalav Yisrael as you would prepare all the other items of food in advance.
Yeah, no, what you're saying is certainly so. What you're saying is certainly so. I mean, you're certainly you would be if it was possible, if it was available in the community where you were, you would certainly be required to do that. I'm not sure if that's what he's talking about over here. I'm really not sure what it is that he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. He doesn't give any examples. I'm not sure what he means.
If he is talking about that, then you would prepare the Chalav Yisrael just as you would prepare if anything they're allergic to. You would make sure that you didn't serve that or did serve this.
I don't know if that's what he's saying. I was thinking that what he was saying was if they are, for example, you have to give an example. By you doing whatever it is that you are accustomed to do, even though it's permissible, even though the Torah permits it, and this other person is just conducting himself according to a stringent opinion, it could be that what he's saying is that you shouldn't do anything in front of him which could confuse him and cause him to do likewise against the way he conducts himself. In other words, it's not simply that make sure that you give him Chalav Yisrael so that he has Chalav Yisrael to drink. But if there, in other words, as long as you give him Chalav Yisrael and it's clear that he has his Chalav Yisrael and he has a carton of Chalav Yisrael, so there wouldn't seem to be any problem with the rest of the family having their milk, which is not. They wouldn't need to change the way that they conduct themselves in that situation. Now, there's actually a Mishnah in Psachim about this, but that is talking about maybe that would be something to look into. That Mishnah. Let me just see if I could find it in a minute. Daven for Siyata D'Shmaya for me.
Amen.
Makom Shenogu. It's the parak Makom Shenogu in Psachim, the first Mishnah in the parak.
What daf?
That's what I'm looking right now. This is Daf Nun Amud Aleph on the bottom of the page.
None is what?
50.
50.
50. Aleph.
50.
Yeah, 50.
It's Pesachim, he said.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Stopping.
50 Pesachim. Okay. Hang on.
Okay. So. Okay, so this Mishnah, it's the first Mishnah in the parak, on the bottom of page 50a. So it would be the last page in your art scroll 50a. And you can see over there what it says. Talking about a situation. See, but here, this is talking about when, let's see what it says. Makom sheno makom. In other words, a place. There's a place which has an established custom. Makom shenogu lasos malacha ba'arve psachim ad chatzos. Hosting. In that place where it's permitted to do malacha on Erev Pesach until midday, hosting. So, a big chiddush. Mishnah tells us it's permitted. Let hosting. They can do that. They can do that. Makom shenogu shelo. Lasos. But a place where it's not the custom. It's rather it's the custom to not do malacha on Erev Pesach, even before. Even before Chatzos, they don't allow malacha. They don't allow malacha from sunrise. Let's say they don't allow malacha. Ein osing. So what does it say? One may not do. Who may not do? Who is it that may not do? No one in that place may do malacha. Okay, so that's in other words, what are we saying over here? We're saying there's such a thing as a minig hamakom. There's such a thing as a custom of a place, of a community, of a city, and they have accepted upon themselves a custom to not do malacha on Erev Pesach the whole day. So in that, so therefore, for the people of that place, they have to hold by that custom. Now, and so now we go to the next part of the Mishnah. The next part of the Mishnah talks about people that go aholech mimakom she'osin lemakom she'ein osim. Oh, mimakom she'ein osim, lemakom she'osim. Now, what do you have? What happens if you have a person that comes from the place that they yes do malacha, or is that the way you said it around over here? Yes. Somebody from a place from the place that they yes do malacha, he goes to a place where they do not do malacha, or the other way around. A person that comes from a place where they do not do malacha, and he goes to the place where they do malacha. So what is the rule in these cases? How is the person in the different place required to conduct himself? This is the subject of the Mishnah. There's rules. One might have thought to say, what do you mean? He does what he always does. What's the difference where he is, in which place he is? He does according to his minig, right? Well, let's see what the Mishnah says. Nosnin alav chumrei makom sheyotza misham v'chumrei makom sheholach l'sham. What does that mean? We give to him the stringencies. We place upon him the stringencies that he's required to perform. The makom sheyotza misham, from the place that he came from. So that would mean if he came from the place where they do not do malacha, and he goes to the place where they yes do malacha, he may not say, oh, well, look, when you're in Rome, you do like the Romans do. No, that's not that's what the Romans do. That's not what Jews do. Nosin alav chumrei makom sheyotza misham. He remains with his stringency in the place that he goes to, even if even if the people in that place do not do that stringency. Right? We're talking here about a custom, which is a stringency. So he keeps his stringency in the place where he goes to, even if they do not do it over there. V'chumrei makom sheholach l'sham. And in addition to that, somebody who came from the place where they do not do, rather where they permit to do malacha on Erev Pesach until Chatzos. So we place upon that person, and he's going to a place where they do not do malacha even before Chatzos. Right? Nobody probably ever heard of such a thing like this, because here, here and everywhere, nobody refuses to do malacha before Chatzos on Erev Pesach. But this is the subject of this Mishnah. There was such custom in the time of the Mishnah. If the Mishnah is talking about this, so if he comes from a place where they did not have any stringency in this regard, but he goes to a place where they do have this stringency, it's accepted custom in that place that's what that people do not do malacha the whole Erev Pesach, even before Chatzos. So the Mishnah places upon him, the force of the Mishnah is placing upon him the stringencies of the place that he goes to. Okay, so that's the Mishnah over here.
So that would apply to davening as well in different places, different shuls.
Okay, so there's a this is something that's a daily occurrence, right? What is one supposed to do when he goes to a shul which doesn't daven in the nusach that he's accustomed to daven in? That's a very practical question. So, Rav Moshe Feinstein has a tshuva on this, and basically what Rav Moshe says is that when a person is saying the part of the prayers that are congregational, when he's saying kedusha, when he's saying kaddish, if he's the chazan, so then he has to honor the minig hamakom, the custom of the shul that he is davening in, and if that shul davens Nusak Svard, and he wants to daven for the Amud, he wants to be the chazan. He has the Yoetz that day. For some reason, he can't daven in some other shul. That whatever. So if they accept him, he is required to daven Nusak Svard for the Amud. For his own Shmona Esrei that no one else hears, he could daven his own Nusach. He could daven his own Nusach. If his own Nusach is Nusach Ashkenaz, so the silent Shmona Esrei before the Chazaras Hashatz, he davens Nusach Ashkenaz. But as far as that's the if this shul is a shul where they are and that's what it is, that the shul is they daven Nusach Sfard in that shul. So then any chazan, no matter what his Nusach is, he should daven the Nusach Sfard of that for the as the chazan, and the Kadishin should also be the Kadishin according to Nusach Sfard. They should not be according to his own Nusach. So but what happens though is that you have Shtiblach, and who comes to Shtiblach? Everyone from all over. That's what a Shtibel is. You chap a minyan. You need a minyan. You happen to be in this place or that place or the other place, and you go and you say, where can I daven mincha? And there's you go over here. There's a minyan factory over there. So what's the nusak of that shul? People come from all over there. So it's hard to say that shul has a minhag hamakom, unless you see all these signs, and of course they're all written in Hebrew, so you can't read them. But they have a whole list of 28 rules of the shul, and one of them is you have to have a gartel, you have to daven nusach svard, you have to do this, you have to that. So then you got to do that because that's their minhag hamakom. That's the minhag hamakom of the shul, and you have of course derech eretz would require you to honor that. But we're saying even beyond derech eretz, but there are halachas about this, about how to conduct oneself in regard to minhagim. That's an interesting thing. Halachas about a minhag. Sounds kind of funny, but that's what you see from this Mishnah in Psachim. There's halachas about minhagim and what to do when you're in a place which is not the minhag that you yourself are accustomed, that you are knowing. So, but I don't know if he's talking about this over here, because he doesn't make it based upon this place or that place. He just says I don't know. It doesn't. What does it say? Anything in the notes there in the article about this? I mean, it's probably it's a whole subject. Probably there's a bit more about this as well on the Mishnahs. And there's a halacha from even it comes out from the Mishnah. Anyway, so
Well, it would seem that this is a good example of of what the Pele Yoetz is saying, that if you are in a place where they're stringent and they don't work, then you cannot work in front of them. You cannot be seen working in violation of their custom.
yeah, but see, what I'm saying is that the Pele Yoetz is going even further than what the Mishnah says. The Mishnah restricts it to if you go. Let's say there's two different places, and place Aleph is the place that they yes do malacha, and place Beis is the place that they do not do malacha. So I understand. So the Mishnah is just talking about if you go to that, if the person from A goes from Aleph goes to Beis. But the Pele Yoetz seems to be talking about what happens if he doesn't make it dependent upon a place. He makes it dependent upon people. There's things that are permissible, but people have a custom to prohibit them. So it's not a matter of minig makom.
Right. So the
It's
question
a matter
is,
of
what
this
happens?
person's personal minig.
Right. So the question is, what happens if somebody who it's their custom to not work comes to a place or comes to a person whose custom is yes to work? Does that mean that the person whose custom is yes to work has to refrain from working because his guest holds that you shouldn't?
Yeah, that's what's not clear about what he's saying. Not clear to me. What's the exactly what the case is. May not be permitted in their presence. That it sounds like is that even the person who does not have the custom, but he's in front of. He doesn't necessarily even have to be in the house of that other person, but he is in front of this other person who has a custom to be stringent. So the Pele Yoetz says it may not be permitted in the presence of this person, these people who are strict. Well, what does that mean? What's constituted may not be permitted? What does that mean? That I can't cause him to do it? That I can't even do it myself? What does it mean? To me, it sounds like maybe I don't know. I don't know exactly what he means. I don't know. To me, it's very not clear. I will have to put this one on the list.
So where would it fit in about people who from if you go and visit Chutz Eretz and you keep one day Yontiv and they keep 2 days and you can't put on a light or things like that in front of them, and you have to so to speak, break Yontiv, the second day Yontiv in your room privately. Where does that situation fit in, if it does?
Well, what's I mean, I don't think that it's brought down that a person who is living in Chutz La'aretz and he has a guest from Eretz Yisrael, I don't think it's brought down anywhere any requirements of the person that's living in Chutz La'aretz that he has to observe 1 day because he's in the presence of someone who conducts himself. That's an interesting point.
I think it's a custom. I think it's a custom, maybe. people do it. People,
I think it's the reversed, Rabbi. I think what we're saying is the stringency is keeping 2 days. And the question is, if you keep 1 day and you're in the presence of somebody who keeps 2 days, then on that second day where you are allowed to do malacha, you're not allowed to do malacha in front of the person who keeps 2 days. I believe that's the principle. That's what I've seen people do. When I was living in America and people came from Israel, they would act as though they kept 2 days in public so that it wouldn't be obvious that they were keeping only 1 day, but in private, they could do what they wanted.
Okay. Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, that's right. Okay, I see. I don't have any experience with this because Baruch Hashem, I've never been in Chutzlar Triantis. But I hear what you're saying. So maybe that. Well, that's also a different. That's a matter of that. If a person from Eretz Yisrael is in Chutz La'aretz for Yontif and he's going to do malacha on the second day of Yontif in front of everybody, people are gonna suspect that they're gonna suspect him. I don't think that's what the Pele Yoetz is talking about. I'm not sure because I don't really know what it is that he's talking about. We could talk about this forever because I don't really know what he's talking about. We have to ask a question about this. This is not clear. But certainly, or somebody who only keeps 1 day, he can't. That's especially in front of other Jews. Of course, he can't say, "Oh, well, look, I'm from Eretz Yisrael. I can take the bus today." Of course, he can't do that because people will look at him and think that he's violating Yontif. Of course, he can't do that.
the Hebrew edition doesn't give you any clues, any references.
What's that?
The Hebrew edition doesn't help with references or clues.
Okay, let me see. Okay, so we have a site. We could look up the halacha over here. Halacha is an Orach Chaim Taf Samach Tes. So this is probably in Hey, Hilchos Pesach. Let's check. Taf Samach Tes. Yeah. Samachesh, Shalom Lasus Malacha Be'erev Pesach Asakatzot. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Ha'osim Malacha Be'erev Pesach Mechatzot Lamala Meshamtinoso. So someone who does Malacha on Erev Pesach after midday is liable to rabbinic penalty. Yafilu lasos b'chinam asur. The yesh mi she'oser afilu al yedei eno Yehudi. The yesh mi she'matir mishmi matir. Here we go. It's in Sif Gimel. Okay, so that's the main halacha that the Shulchan Aruch is bringing is doing malacha on Erev Pesach after Chatzot. But in Sif Gimel, he mentions what it says in our Mishnah in Psachim. Kodem Chatzot. What's the status of doing malacha before Chatzot on Erev Pesach? Makom shenogu lasos malacha osim. Makom shenogu shelo lasos ein osim. That's straight out of the Mishnah. Each place according to their custom. If that's the accepted custom of the place. So all the people of that place that are residents of that place conduct themselves according to that custom of the place, whether it's the stringent opinion, whether it's the lenient opinion. Now, in Sif Dalet, we get to a situation which might be more relevant to us. Oh, now it gets very... Okay, so... What happens if someone goes from a place that they are lenient? He goes to a place which is stringent. They do not do malacha. Lo yasa. He should not do it. Lo yasu be'ishu. He should not do it in the Mishnah Berurah explains the Yishuv Shel Yisrael in the place where the Jews live. Why? That's because of preventing machlokes. And the Mishnah Berurah says over here, "Afilu b'tzina." The malacha efshar lasos kol kach b'tzina shelo yisvada. Because really, when it comes to doing malacha, says the Mishnah Berurah, there's no such thing as doing it b'tzina, because I guess he's talking about malacha which is noisy. Which people can detect if somebody's doing malacha. So even if he's doing it in his house, but people can detect that he's doing malacha. He's got the washing machine going on, and they hear it. So that he cannot do it. Aval says the Shulchan Aruch. Osuhu b'midbar. He could do it in the midbar. What does he mean in the midbar? You have to go out to the desert. Yoetz says the Mishnah Berurah, the stay ha'ir, chutz l'tchum. He could do it in the outlying area from the city, which is outside the borders of the city. She'ein anshe yishuv mitzuyin sham. That there are not people from the the Jewish community, people are not found over there. I don't know what place that would be. I mean, Jewish people are found in. Just go ask Chabad. They have a Chabad. There's no place in the world that you can't find two things. I was told. Everywhere in the world they have coke and they have a Chabad house. Doesn't matter where you are.
Hmm.
In any case, and then the Mishnah Berurah adds, "Keven shedato lachzor l'makom harishon shemekili sham." Since he is a resident of the lenient place, and he's planning to return to that lenient place that he's from. He's just here temporarily. So therefore, if he could find a place in the Midbar where he can't find people from the Jewish community over there, so then he could conduct himself according to his lenient view, because he's not in their presence. Okay. So
This was going to be a short a short comment at the beginning.
well, we're trying to figure out what it is that he's talking about. That's the difficulty,
Yes.
you know. Sometimes the small toasts are the hardest ones because there's not much to go on.
Right, right.
Oh, now here's something that's closer to what you were talking about with Yontif.
Uh-huh.
Continues the Shulchan Aruch, "V'haholech mimakom she'ein osin lemakom she'osin." Or it's actually the other way around. If he goes, yeah, I mean, maybe we should look in the halachas of Yontif rather. We'd find all these halachas about what happens if somebody is a ben Eretz Yisrael. He goes to a place in Chutz La'aretz. That's the maybe we would certainly also find an array of halachas over there as well. The whole question is, I keep saying is, I'm not sure exactly what the Pele Yoetz, which case he's referring to, because he doesn't mention any case.
Time is up.
Time is up. Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Saved by the bell.